Today on Kicks Chronicles, we've got part 2 of our interview with the one and only Matt O. We discussed the best and worst sneakers of the year for 2023. Matt also shares his thoughts on some of the biggest brands and designers in the game, including people like Jerry Lorenzo and Wotherspoon. And lastly, Matt tells us what 2 pairs of shoes he'd take with him if he was stuck on a desert island. People, this is Kicks Chronicles. Let's go! Yes, my people. Welcome to episode 61 of your sneaker and lifestyle podcast, Kicks Chronicles. I'm your boy PROZECH. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you've had an amazing week so far. And first and foremost, I want to thank everyone that managed to watch or listen to our most recent episode 60, part 1 of our interview with Matt O, the guy from Canada, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. You get me? He did his thing. We've got some great feedback and engagement with some of the videos as well. So really appreciate it. But guys, if you haven't managed to see any of those videos or the podcast or listen to the podcast, obviously it's available everywhere you get podcasts. So feel free to go and have a look at that. Now, obviously, we will be getting into part 2 of our interview with the sneaker and streetwear designer Matt O. But before we get into that, this has been a pretty interesting week because I don't know if many of you have heard of it. I'm sure a couple of you have. But Spotify does this thing called Wrapped. Now, Wrapped is essentially where they will sort of break down how you've been listening and using their app through the year. So the artists that you've been listening and essentially what you've been doing on the app for the whole year. And it obviously does it for me in terms of the music that I listen to and that sort of stuff. But it also does it for creators in terms of lets you know how people have been using your content throughout the year. And I thought it'd be a great thing for us to discuss because I ain't gonna lie, the numbers were decent. It gives you a good understanding of sort of where you are. And in this particular case, it was very encouraging. So let's have a little look at the numbers. Now, these numbers sort of cover the last year. And I know prior to the last year, we weren't really doing a huge amount in terms of the podcast. So we've got to kind of take it with a little pinch of salt, I should say. But with that being said, the numbers still are a good indication and a good benchmark for us to use in years moving forward. So, first and foremost, it's just great to know that people are vibing with the podcast. Numbers are decent, especially on the audio. I really want to get our YouTube numbers up, but we're doing great in terms of our short videos as well. Like the first Matt O short video did really well. It's pushing nearly 20k on IG, and we've had a number of good wins on various platforms. But yeah, this year our most listened to, our biggest episode was the George Sullivan Soul Supplier episode, and that also, very interestingly, was our only sort of face-to-face interview, which gives me an indication that people maybe more have an appetite. And I was speaking to a friend and they did mention that, kind of leaning me towards doing a few more face-to-face interviews. I just need to pattern up my outside broadcast system, but it is something that is on my mind. It's something that I've been thinking about. And when reaching out to guests, is something that seems more people are interested in and have an appetite for. And obviously, when I speak to people from other countries, that might not always be the case. I'm not flying anyone in or paying people's travel. We're not on that level yet. But it's good to know that people have a vibe of wanting to see face-to-face and sit down across from somebody. And if we're able to do that, we can do that. It's just obviously on the back end of that, getting all of that footage and being able to cut it down within a short period of time can sometimes be a little difficult, but I think that is the next step. So yeah, guys, you're going to see at least more than one live interview next year. At least more than one. And when I say live, at least I mean in person. You get me? To be fair, we might do a live. A live might be sick. But We'll take baby steps. We'll go in person first. If we were to aim for, say, maybe like one a month or one a quarter, so go from one this year to maybe 4 next year, or even between maybe 4 and 12. That would be sick. So yeah, somewhere in that ballpark, that would actually be crazy. And we could make it like a really special one and do it. And we could easily do it in Crep Collection Club, or we could find neutral venues and stuff. That would be pretty cool. So yeah, the next interesting thing, most shared episode, was the Moses PSD episode. So shout out to Moses. He's the man. Also shout out to George Sullivan for just having belief in us and being super, super smooth and cool to work with. But yeah, Moses, PSD, London Sneaker Club, you already know, man, these guys are legends. Moses is my guy. I recently saw him at Crep City, finally for the first time face to face. We're meaning to get down to the spot, but yeah, we found ourselves at Crep City, and he's taller in person. For real. I think he did mention he was like 6'3". He is all about 6'3". I was a very, very nice guy as well. And that's also our biggest video in terms of our short form content on IG, pushing 60K on that video as well. That was really, really cool. Like the engagement on that video and the amount of follows that we've got and the amount of obviously listens that we've got as a result of that video has been fantastic. So yeah, it's been really, really cool. Like this year, we've had such amazing guests. And I just wanted to thank every single guest that we've had on the podcast this year. I need to take this opportunity to thank, and I'm not going to mention every name, because there's far too many. We've had 60 guests, and the majority of them happened this year. But that being said, on the 60 episodes, I don't know how many guests, but it would have been up there. It's been a vibe, and it's been a blessing to be a part of. 93% of our listeners discovered us this year, which makes sense because this has been our first year back. 2023 was the year of Kicks Chronicles, just reinstating, just getting our feet under the water, just getting ourselves set up and ready to kick on in 2024. So yeah, that makes massive sense, and it's awesome. In terms of that, and we want to keep that number growing as we continue into 2024 and beyond. Now, here's where we get into the nitty gritty, guys. Listeners were up 377%. Right. Bear in mind, this is our first year back, but it is from when we started because we've always been on Spotify. So from when we started to now, listeners are up 377%. So we have 377% more listeners than we had in previous years, which is fantastic. Right? Which is fantastic. I have to remind myself and remind you guys that we did start the podcast at some time in 2021, I believe. And that was our first 12 episodes. So from then to now, we're up 377%, which is great. And initially when we came out, we were doing really, really well in terms of our YouTube. And we had some good listeners as well. We had some really good big episodes, especially the King of Trainers episode. That was massive. So yeah, 377% is not to be sniffed at. This next one is actually crazy. I think it might be a typo, but I'm trying to do the numbers and it's sick, right? Our streams, in terms of people watching us on Spotify or listen to us through Spotify, up 999%. Crazy. Now, this doesn't take into consideration all the other podcasting platforms because they don't provide this information in the same fashion. But just on Spotify, which is probably the biggest one, other than Apple Podcast, streams up 999% is mad, wild, and just crazy. So yeah, I just don't even know what to say about that. That's crazy to me. And then followers up 157%, which is also cool and amazing. And just happy that the podcast is just resonating with people, and people are vibing, and people are interacting with our videos and interacting with our podcast, and whether it be audio or visually, people are just getting down and getting in the comments and reaching out. And I just want to say a massive thank you for every guest, for every listener, for everyone that's streamed, for everyone that's just done anything in contribution or shared the pod. I just want to say a massive thank you. We're coming up to the period of time where we kind of, I know in America they do Thanksgiving and we've gone past that, but in the UK we obviously have Christmas, and it's an opportune time for us to say what we're thankful for and what we're grateful for. And guys, I'm grateful for you, man. I'm grateful for you, man, for just your support and your love, like, and even in the culture, like, reaching out to influencers, reaching out to designers has been so much easier because of all of the work that you guys have been doing in sharing the podcast, in interacting with the videos, and supporting me. I just want to say a massive thank you. So guys, yeah, this has actually been a sick year. I can't lie. I was listening to the Chris Van Vliet podcast. He does a sick podcast, by the way, and wrestling, and I'm a wrestling guy, and he was doing like he was just giving off some stats, and he said that 90% of podcasts don't last past episode 3. 90%. We're on episode 60, my boy. 60. This is episode 61. You get me? We are doing big business, and we just need to continue that road. You get me? Because I know consistency, hard work, and quality content will all, if I bring them all together, bro, we're going to meet at the top. You get me? That's all it's going to be. We're going to meet at the top. You get me? Like, so yeah, thank you for everyone for holding me down. You get me? Like, and yeah, man, I'm mad humbled and thankful. God is so good. You get me? It is really, really hard work. But when you hear and see things like this, it's actually sick. So yeah, guys, yeah, massive thank you. Let's get into that interview with Matt O. So yeah, talking about that interview, Matt does not hold back, G. He is like a machine gun. We discussed the best and worst kicks of 2023. Now, the original question was the best. He started going into what he didn't like, and I was like, I'm here for it, G. So he told us his worst kicks of 2023, but he also got very, very candid about some brands and some designers, notably Jerry Lorenzo, Fear of God, Adidas, who recently said that their clothing line is going to be dropping in December. The numbers in terms of the prices for those pieces, crazy. Like, the pieces look cool, but the prices look crazy, wild, outlandish, and yeah, polarizing, to say the least. So yeah, I think a lot of the points that he was making were absolutely valid. And he also talks about Sean Witherspoon. He kind of goes in on Sean Witherspoon a little bit. And this is opinion. We've got to let people have their opinion and say what they want to say. And he stands on business. I'm not going to joke, man. He said what he said and he stands on it. And yeah, man, in full conviction, man, with chest and vim. So yeah, man, big up Matt for having a real solid take and an opinion. Lastly, obviously, one of my favorite questions, we asked him Desert Island Kicks, and he told us what 2 pairs of shoes he'd have with him if he was stranded on a desert island. And you know how it gets down. He also tells us what it means to be a sneakerhead, the meaning of that word really means to him. And that was really, really cool to hear as well. So overall, fantastic episode. I've been entertained and educated during this process, during these 2 interviews with Matt O. If you didn't manage to catch that original interview, make sure to go do it. And if you're starting here, I'd probably go back there and come into this one because there was gold in that last one. But this is a fantastic episode as well. You guys are going to absolutely love it. It's going to be interesting and entertaining. You're going to laugh and you're going to be like, oh, I didn't know that. You get me? Like, you're going to definitely feel those feelings. So, guys, let us know what you're thinking and feeling in the comments below. If you want to holler at me in any way, shape or form, it's kickschronicles@gmail.com. Feel free to do that. And yeah, with all of that being said, I'm your boy PROZECH. This is Kicks Chronicles, and today our guest in the final part of our interview is Matto from Volcoeur. Enjoy.
Yeah. For Nike to be able to produce a full family size run, right? You're talking probably like what? Like I'm saying, like 150, 200, like 200,000 for all of those lasts and all of like. And the thing is, because those silhouettes are created, maybe it's okay. But if it's a new silhouette,
yeah. That's why Nike and Adidas, that's why when we say we want to see new product, but then no one shows up to buy the new product. It's like the brands have to put a huge upfront investment to see if that's going to work in putting it out in full family sizing and everything like that. Man. It's extremely expensive. I can tell you right now as well, just to get one single sample, because it's going to be done by hand. It's not going to go through the process through all the machines and this and that. It's going to be done by hand. A sample will cost you $3,000. That's 1.5 pounds. Okay, 1.5 thousand pounds to get a sample that you can walk around and wear. And then when you want to send those pairs out, like a few pairs, to seed them to influencers. I work in PR. I've told you this before. I do a lot of public relations campaigns. You want to send those out to influencers, it's going to cost you near $300 a pair. Okay, that's $300, $150 a pair, right? To produce those. And then that's not your production cost. Your production cost will be a bit less when you make a bigger quantity of them. But at first you want to test the market, you're going to produce samples. Mate, if you're sending that to like 10 influencers, you're another $3,000 in the whole set. It's $3,000 for one single sample, another $3,000 to send it to influencers. It costs you however many grand to get the materials to start the production on it. So like I said, you're getting up to $10,000, and you have packaging, your boxes, and then you got to ship all of this stuff out. So there's no way you're doing this for under $10,000. I'm talking 10,000 US. I'm going in between all kinds of currencies because I'm trying to make it relatable for everybody listening. I'm trying to keep all audiences in mind. But there's no way you're releasing a sneaker for about like under $10,000. You know what I'm saying? So it's an extremely expensive process to just get off the ground. And then you've got your molds, you've got your lasts built, you've got your materials, you got this and that, you got things you can start to reuse. Your costs get incrementally cheaper to produce the sneakers. Fine, over time. But are you able to continue generating demand? Are you able to make big enough hits? Have you been seeding the right influencers? Are they wearing your pairs? Are you getting props to your brand? Or are they wearing them for a quick Instagram post and then deleting it, and then it's like, shit, where did my investment go? Right? Like there's a lot of thinking that goes into this as an independent, releasing sneakers into a highly competitive market where you have to have big funds to fight big footwear.
Nah, this is, you're absolutely right, man. It's an absolute quandary. There's so many questions to ask, and I can imagine from an independent perspective, like, you've literally just got to go down the list and work out sort of what's the most important elements of this process to me, and how I can allocate the funds that I do have available, and how I can sort of make sure that I'm producing the best product, telling the best story, getting it to the right people to be able to make the biggest impact in order to sell out these kicks and get some money back. Like, it is tough. It is really, really tough, man. My hat's off, literally. Literally take this guy off to all of you guys that are doing this thing, man. It's an absolute, it's absolute God's work, man. It's deeper stuff, man. Like, when you actually think about it, like, we sit on these podcasts and we jump on our social media pages because we're all quick critics now. Everyone wants to share their opinion on these kicks, and it's like, you say things and you're never thinking about the amount of effort and energy it's taken to get to that place. You never think about it. You never think about it. You just think, you know what, do I like it? Do I not like it? Blah, blah, blah. Just saying all these funny things. But ultimately, a lot of effort has gone into these things. So I do appreciate it, man. I really do appreciate it. And, what you've got cooking, yeah, I like it, bro.
I can't show the Volcoeur Pulse Runner just yet. I've shown it to you off camera, and I hope you like it. But
I love it.
Yeah. So I hope it resonates with people.
Respectfully, it's ticking a lot of very cool boxes right about now. You get me? It's gonna instantly, in my opinion. And obviously, people are going to see it when it actually drops next year, early next year, hopefully. People are going to see it. But it will slip right in.
Perfect.
into what people are feeling right now. So I feel like you've hit the nail on the head, and I'm hoping that you ship to the UK, bro.
You want to know? You want to know something? You want to know how much it costs to ship to the UK? And I don't. I absorb shipping. It's included in my pricing. Do you know how much it
That's
costs
what
me
I
to
said.
ship?
Hope.
You know how
Yeah,
much
that's
it
what I
costs?
said.
It costs me $75 to $85 to ship a pair of
Unbelievable.
sneakers, a sneaker box to the UK. And I
Unbelievable.
charge maybe $50 Canadian, so it's like 25 pounds. Or 27, whatever, but it costs about that to ship to the UK. And you're like, well, that's extremely expensive. But it costs me 70. I'm actually eating it on the profit of the sneaker, which is already razor thin. I'm going to eat that to send it just so that I can grow my audience. That's
Yeah.
what I do. There are some places I won't ship it, like in New Zealand and certain things like this. The cost is it's like $100-something to ship a pair of
Yeah.
sneakers. It's
So
not worth
tough.
it. But that's the thing. Is it? I do ship to the UK. I certainly do, and keep an eye out for those
I
early
will
next year.
I'll definitely keep my eye out, man. I know how it goes as well. I got to think as well, because when it comes here, it's going to have customs on it. I know for a fact. So the taxman's going to want to take a little piece from me as well. So yeah, man, we'll figure it out when we get
That's the
to
world.
it.
That's the world we live in. We have to
Everybody wants
navigate
a
it.
piece, G. Everybody wants a piece, man. All right, bro. I'm gonna ask you just a couple more questions, man. But
Yeah,
thank you so much for your time, man. I really do
of
appreciate it.
course.
By the way, obviously we've mentioned it. Matt's in Canada. I'm in the UK. Like, we have to appreciate the time difference out here. You get me? It's a little late at night for me. It's the middle of the day, like early afternoon, late afternoon for him. So yeah, everybody's sacrificing for your pleasure right now. So yeah, appreciate. But talk to me, man. 2023 is rolling to an end, right? Rolling to
Hmm.
an end. I know obviously Complex haven't done the sneakers of the year yet, like their top 10, but could you give me your top 3?
Top 3 sneakers of the year.
It doesn't have to be in order. I don't want to
Okay.
pressurize you unless you got it like that, but obviously just give me your top 3.
Okay. You've got me at a very interesting time because I'm currently this year I think I've managed to only buy 3 shoes. Like I told you, I bought 4 pairs of Asics at like $84 a pair, which is like unheard of. That like 4 of them combined is like the cost of one sneaker. So I almost don't even consider them. But uh, I have bought very few sneakers this year, and I think the ones that I've had on my radar were you have the Corn Adidas Campus that's coming up.
That was
That
out there, yeah, yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
okay, there's not much behind those sneakers, all right. But if you want to talk
But
some,
I
if
get
you
it
want to
though,
talk
because that's your
minimalism, you
thing,
know
right?
my story. You know my story.
Yes, I get it.
I was listening to Korn. I was in those pits. I was watching Korn while they did their music videos where they mixed hip hop styling and metal. New metal is what it was called. Limp Bizkit, Korn, Slipknot started out that way, right? With it's rap metal essentially, and the way that music they were the Run DMC of metal Adidas fans. Okay, legitimately,
Respect it.
they had
Respect
Adidas
it. Respect it.
tracksuits.
They were head to toe in Adidas, man. And the thing is,
They
yeah,
have a song called Adidas.
but how did it take so long for them to get that collab, bro?
I can tell you the metal community is less sneaker driven, like sneaker purchase
Yeah.
inclined. They'll stick
Mhm.
with a beat up pair of Chucks like their whole life. You know what I mean?
I hear that. I hear
Or
that. I hear
old
that.
schools, like they're not into collecting sneakers. They don't
I
understand
hear
that
that.
dynamic.
I hear that.
So I think that's what made it hard for them was like, does Korn have a market with us? And I think now they're just like, we'll try everything. We'll try everything. And nostalgia's hitting hard now.
And it's
People are into the
massive nostalgia
90s.
play. Massive nostalgia
Let's do a
play.
Korn collab.
Very, very cool. Because when I saw it, I was like, well, good on Korn, because I know Korn from back in the day. And like you said, they're part of that. They were one of the forefathers when it comes to the new metal scene, like you mentioned, with Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park and all
Yeah.
of them, man. They're like, yeah, man, we were getting. The thing is, yeah, I never called myself a metal guy, but back in the day, because they had that, it was new metal, it was that fusion between hip hop and metal. So it was like crazy hard guitars and drums, but like people rapping over it. And it was like, bro, this still sounds like banging music to me. Like I was still rocking with it. So yeah, Corn definitely has a little place in the heart. You get me, man? So I'm
Yeah.
happy for them, super happy for them to have their spot, man. They really deserve it.
I mean, if you also look at the sneakers that they've released this year, with not just this year, but even just recently with South Park and The Simpsons, I mean, they're really trying to tap the 90s kids right now and say,
Yeah,
hey, it's your nostalgia era with Adidas right now. You know, buy up all these. They've got more Simpsons shoes coming out next week.
Yeah, I saw it was like 3 pairs, right?
Yeah.
With the itchy, the scratchy, and the dog Poochie, right?
Yeah.
The Homer Simpson meme one was absolute, like that was perfect. Absolutely loved that. So yeah, Adidas are definitely having a moment right now. Like I think, especially with the Samba as well, people are just loving Adidas right now. Definitely.
I'd have to say that the other sneaker that I include would be the Montreal Bagel Nike Dunk Low that they released. I am so biased, but the box, the packaging, everything on that was really cool. As a Montrealer, to see your city called out in a dunk was, really interesting. I will admit, I was extremely disappointed in like the quality, like the materials. I was like, this is like cheap plasticky BS leather. It was just kind of like a basic shoe, but when you consider the rollout and the box and everything that they had, just kind of calling Montreal to action, and what our stores were doing for the release, like really added to the ambiance around the sneaker. And so
that's cool.
I would consider that in some of my top. I don't know if it's considered the top 3, but it's definitely one that was on my radar at the top, and it came out at the beginning of the year, so I don't want to forget it. You know what I mean? I want it
no, that's absolutely
we forget
fair.
The ones that came out in like January, February, when we get to the end of the year.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right, man.
So I don't know.
Recency bias in these lists. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't totally know about how many others came out this year that I really had my eye on. Besides those 2 sneakers, like there have been other shoes that have popped up on my radar here and there, but none that I've like felt compelled to buy. I think those 2 I've felt compelled to buy them simply because they have something that they mean to me. But I've been not out of it this year, but like I said, I've been renovating, I've been moving, and like life was moving in a totally different direction. I'm working on the production of my own sneakers, so those priorities of like making a top list tend to fall to the bottom. I can tell you a lot of the sneakers that I think are absolute trash for this year, just horrible sneakers. And
I'd be interested in that. I'd be interested in that list. I mean, feel free.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to jump on some of those. I mean, I'm telling you, man, these Cactus Plant Flea Market releases are just getting ridiculous. The Mischief releases are ridiculous. And, like, I want everybody to take into account that Mischief is not a sneaker brand, right? They're, like, a provocative marketing collective. That's what they do. That's what they do. So the fact that you're like, this is the craziest sneaker, oh, this is insane. Of course, that's what they do. That they're there to get headlines, and you're giving it to them. So, that's what it is. It's a boot. It's the stupidest fashion statement of the year, of course, but it's on the people who buy the thing, not on Mischief. They're going to create stuff that get people talking, and if you buy it and wear it on Instagram, that's on you. So, that's Mischief. And then when you're looking at these Cactus Plant Flea Market things, these collaborations are freaking ridiculous. And I'm talking every year. They have made something that the problem with what they're doing here is they're feeding into social media fodder. They're trying to give fodder for news accounts who create hype around sneakers. They're like, if we make something absolutely wacky, people are going to love our brand. And that's just what they do. Wacky shoes. For the sake of being wacky, not for a genuine sake of trying to create some really good storytelling or this or that. They're just doing weird stuff to be weird. And they have had one, as far as I'm concerned, like Sean Wotherspoon, one really big hit early on in their career. And then that's it. Sean Wotherspoon, the 97 that he did. And he even did, I don't want to go on and on about Sean Wotherspoon. I've gone on podcasts before and I've berated the poor guy. The first shoe he did, he got all the attention for. He didn't even make it himself. It's documented that he was in a room with like 5 other people designing that sneaker. And then he goes off to make all kinds of corduroy shoes that nobody likes. And it's like, guys, you can't own a material. It's not your design signature. It's corduroy. It's period. Come up with an original thought. And then he does, and people are like, these are trash. And he's like, yeah, well, they're meant to look like thrift store trash. And it's like, well, then that's where they're going to go, my friend. And they're not going to sell out. They're horrible. I don't
Yeah,
like any
no,
of his
he
releases.
struggled. Yeah, he's struggled since the '97 one, and you're absolutely right, because that whole the process behind the '97 one was, there was like there was well, when you say a whole room, there was a whole slew of designers designing Air Max 97s throughout that whole period. So yeah, there was like, they invited so many people
They had Ben
into that
Baller.
room.
They had
Yeah,
was it
there's so many people,
Fran or something? Franelations.
and
They
there
were
were
all in
so,
a room
yeah, they were
brainstorming.
all there. They
It's
were all
documented.
there, right? So
So
no, I completely get where you're coming from, man. And what you're saying about flea market is true. Like, it's just being weird for being weird sake, man. And that's never cool, man.
I
That's
think
just,
the problem with
that's
those shoes
dumb.
is like people wear them ironically. People
Yeah,
appreciate them ironically. Like it's so ugly, it's
it's
good.
like a talking piece. It's like something you do to draw attention to yourself. But it's like, anybody with any real substance is just gonna see through that. Like, it's not real. Like,
It's
it's not
it's
real.
it's the equivalent of high fashion. When you look at you were talking about this. You said that's a pretentious lot, right? They get together, they put on these stupid, extravagant shows, and the clothes that they end up wearing are hardly real clothes. They're see-through plastic bags, and they're calling it fashion. And it's like, listen, guys, they're doing this for attention. They're doing this on purpose to get you to say, what? So the more you give them, the more it ups them. Because it's
Mm,
clearly not like a functional piece of, in Cactus Plant Flea Market's sense, functional footwear. In high fashion sense, it's not functional menswear, women's wear, clothing, activewear, whatever. It's not what it's supposed to be. It's
mm.
trying to get your attention, and that's ultimately what it is. So Cactus Plant
Yeah,
Flea Market is essentially like that. They're making these non-functional, non-pragmatic shoes that look like the feet of the Grinch that they're telling you to shave down. And it's like, guys, why don't you just make a green dunk that had some actual, like, real storytelling to it, instead of like, well, you're going to shave
yeah,
it down and it looks like this. It's like, like, it's not cool. Like, people don't walk around with that. Like, there's a reason we've evolved over thousands of years our footwear and that's another thing I have is a problem with Crocs. The
mm.
evolution of footwear, my friend, has gone through thousands of years of design changes and technology, and companies like Adidas and Nike spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. Adidas came up with Boost, with like Michelin tires stuff, right? It's technology from cars, and we're wearing rubber flip-flops. I'm sorry, you tell me how that flip Crocs? It's a joke. It's not fashion. It's not footwear. It's a mold. You're putting a rubber mold on your foot.
I agree, but they're comfortable as heck. Am I right?
They're quick. They're quick to throw on. I will give you that. I wear flip-flops when I'm going in the garage and I go and grab some stuff. But I'm not going out. When I see kids walking around in Crocs and high top white socks, as if they're hanging out in the malls and stuff like this, and that's a fashion statement. I'm like, it's not though.
Fam.
But it's not. It's telling you you're
Yeah.
just lazy.
Nah, I'm definitely on the crack thing. I'm definitely, because I originally was like, because obviously Kanye did the whole foam runner thing, and I was like, oh, those foam runners look a bit interesting. I got the foam runner; it was super squishy and bouncy, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get involved. It looks a bit weird, but it makes me feel something, so let me get involved. And then as time went on, I was like, you know what? I kind of feel like I want to try the croc. I put the croc on my feet, and I was like, wow, these are pretty comfortable as well. And when you're a dad, and when you're going to the nursery, and you're going to the shopping, and and it's like, you know what, man? All right, I get it. I see why there's loads of mums and dads rocking this shoe. I get it. I get it now. And you know, in the days when I don't want to wear my Air Max ones or my Yeezys, I don't want to wear my Jordans ones or fours, you know, I can throw on a pair of Crocs and jump out the yard and be okay with it, man. So yeah, I appreciate it, because I know that it's not really a forward thinking choice, but my feet love them. And I can't lie.
I see the appeal in the practicality of them. I just do not see the fashion appeal or the fashion functionality or any way, shape, or form that they fit into fashion. If someone says you're going
Yeah,
to
I
go to a
appreciate that.
gala, what are you going to put on? You're not putting on Crocs. I understand you're going to run out to the shops or do something. You're going to throw on some Crocs. That's okay. It's the same thing. In Miami, someone might throw on a pair of flip-flops and they'll go up.
Mhm.
Fine. It's probably not the safest thing to drive with because it can come off your foot real easy. I've driven in flip-flops and I'm like, this is extremely dangerous.
Unless
So
they're in
not,
sports mode. Unless they're in sports mode.
unless they're in sports mode, fully jammed onto your foot. But you know what I mean? But look, I understand where that can be used, but you can't tell me it's a fashion statement. You just simply can't, because I don't see any argument that makes a good point for Crocs being fashionable.
I think obviously, I don't disagree with you. I would never consider wearing Crocs a fashion statement. But also, I mean, in this world that we live in, practicality is important. So I think that's the main importance for me when it comes to wearing a shoe, especially when doing all the things that a dad and a sort of a husband has to do sort of around the house, gardening and going out to the shops or whatever. These are all things that we need to do. So I'm not thinking high fashion when I'm throwing on my Crocs, even though I do have a couple of gibbets in there, which are fun.
Oh well, you need to get those Shrek ones then.
Need to get the
Those Shrek
I was
shoes.
considering.
Oh my God!
Did you not see Jeff Staples had design pairs as well with a massive,
with the
massive pigeon,
pigeon feet
with a
on
massive
it, the
pigeon foot in
gibbets.
it.
Yeah.
I almost considered getting those, but I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna try and pay homage to Jeff Staples in another way.
That's what I'm saying, you know. But look, I totally understand where you're coming from on that. I do get them. I don't see the fashion argument for them. And the thing is, I could see where it's coming from. It's going with current trends, and current trends right now, you know, Kim and Kanye have really popularized like leisure wear, and now a lot of people are into active wear, and people are into runners like New Balance, and they're taking on this kind of like runner aesthetic and this like active wear aesthetic. And you have Balenciaga and all kinds of people coming out with. You have Off-White too. I mean, all these high fashion brands that dabble in streetwear have also released activewear lines and, like, you know, skin tight spandex shirts that have their logos on them, and people are wearing them. Not ironically, but they're not running in them. They're just wearing them for casual use. So I understand the Crocs.
No one's running in this.
I understand the Crocs. People are going for comfort and for, you know, and that. So while I understand it, it doesn't mean I have to like it. So that's where I'm on the fence. That's where I'm sitting on that issue.
I completely agree, man. Yeah. Understanding is not. I'm saying you don't have to buy into it, man. But no, I do appreciate where you're coming from on that. I'm gonna ask you a question, right? And it's one of my favorites. It's called Desert Island Kicks. Hi there. So nice to see you. Sorry to interrupt the pod. I'll be literally 30 seconds. I just wanted to say thank you for being here. And also, if you enjoy the pod, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It really does help. Also, if you're listening on an audio platform, feel free to give us a review, whether it be positive or negative. Just leave a review. We really, really appreciate it. Also, feel free to listen to our old episodes. And if you ever want to get in contact, if you want to let me know what you're thinking, feeling, or whatever, holler at me. My name is PROZECH. PROZECH on all social media. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm enjoying TikTok at the moment. So feel free to holler at me. I will always holler back. And with all that being said, I'll let you get back to the pod. Toodles. So, Matt, you are cast away on a desert island. You don't know how you got there, but you have 2 pairs of shoes with you. What I'm trying to understand is, what 2 pairs of shoes do you have with you and why?
I have a quick question. Am I on a desert island that is in the Caribbean, or am I in North America with multiple seasons?
You know what? No one, bro, you're such a deep guy. No one's ever asked me where the desert island is located.
I need to geolocate this desert island right now so that I can pick the right shoes. Because I tell you right now, if I'm just dealing with sand, my sneakers are going to be like breathable but resistant to sand and this and that. If there's mud and I'm going through murky bogs and stuff like this, my sneaker choices are going to change slightly.
I'm thinking, whenever I think of a desert island, I always think about the Caribbean. I always think about sort of like off the shores of Africa and that sort of thing. So I'm thinking there's probably going to be 2 predominant seasons. There's going to be a really hot season and a rainy season. So
Okay.
there are going to be some bits that you're going to need to cover. Obviously, that being said, I don't know how long you're going to be on the island for, but in this mythical world that we're creating, let's just assume that you're on this island for the foreseeable future.
All right, let's do this. I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with a pair of Air Max 90s, and I'm gonna go with a pair of Hirachis, or I have an alternate pair. So Hirachis, I'm on the fence about Hirachis. I'll take an Air Max 90 because those are like my do-it-all shoes. They can resist. I'm modifying stuff on my car and I have to lift something with my foot. I can do it with an Air Max. If I'm doing with a Hirachi, it might rip through the materials are quite thin on the top of it.
Yeah, for real.
So a Hirachi, I'm kind of on the fence. They can also be really tight if you haven't sized them properly. Let's say I have the right size. That's totally fine. But like if your foot is always swelling in the summer and you're always dealing with a very tight, constricting shoe that you can't do much about, like even if you loosen the laces, it's like it's like a neoprene sock booty kind of thing that you're stuck 100%. Into. That's not going to loosen much more than the laces. You can loosen laces as much as you want. The sock is going to be a sock. So given the extra freedom you'll have with just the laces on the Air Max 90 with swollen feet and stuff like that, I'll take the 90. And then the other pair that I would take is they're a very unique pair. I'm going to go get it for you.
Come on now.
It's these. Okay, these are the Asics Gore-Tex. So the Asics GTX gel. It was a Gel Kayano 5 360. It's like a big mouthful. But these things, Gel Kayano 5, okay, 360 because the gel goes all the way around the shoe, pretty much. Not through the front, but pretty much all the way around the shoe. It's a banging colorway. Gore-Tex material. You've got it for the resistance to, for the weatherproofing materials. It's not impenetrable. It's not impenetrable, but it's a lot more weather resistant than your average sneaker, right? Like if I step in a bog of water, my foot's still going to get wet. But if it's raining, I'm going to last a lot longer in these than I'm going to last in anything else.
Okay.
So these are badass. The tread for the sneaker is like extremely like trail friendly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
It's a nice trail-friendly tread. So, my God, try saying that 5 times fast. Trail-friendly tread.
Yeah, not me, bro.
Impossible. So I will go with those, man. They're banging colorway, super cool, super versatile, and then the Air Max 90s just kind of do it all. And those will be my 2.
No, that's absolutely fire, bro. Yeah, I can see that making a lot of sense. Air Max 90 is gonna get love. And definitely we get a lot of Air Maxes, people bringing out the Air Maxes purely because obviously it's the comfort factor, but also it's a shoe that's familiar, and you can do a lot in them, right?
Yeah, that's
so
the
Air
thing.
Maxes definitely work, right? And then things like Gore-Tex and strong treads and stuff like that definitely tend to make an appearance because it makes sense, man. You might have to climb up a tree, you might have to go through some boggy water, blah blah blah. Like you might have to do a little bit of running away from things or to things.
If I'm in Africa, there might be a lion who managed to swim over. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how good they are at swimming, but maybe they made it to the island. There's a lion. They're not indigenous to the island, but made it there on the raft.
Let's hope not.
I don't know, It's Lion King Part 5. They build a raft and come over to Madagascar where I'm hanging out with the animals from Madagascar. I don't know.
Madagascar. I was thinking Madagascar. They might make you the new king, right?
People have an appetite for that now to get into new brands.
Yeah, I think people are a little bit more open. New. Yeah, definitely more open than they have been over the years because ultimately, what we've seen from Adidas in the last couple of years, I mean, they're having a resurgence now, but ultimately, like, they were sort of locked into Yeezy. That's all they could really give us. And then Nike had been sort of cookie cutting and just pumping stuff out for the last few years. So I think there was definitely space. Like I did a little bit of market research, or I looked into some market research that came out last year, and in the UK and Europe, market share for Nike had dropped 10%, gone up 10% for New Balance.
Yep.
And Adidas was stuck at around sort of 3-4%. Like it was significantly lower than it had been historically. But I think it's probably going to be a lot higher this year because probably the highest the largest selling shoe this year has been the Samba. So I think they're gonna see some strong strong numbers.
I can't get over the Jerry Lorenzo stuff that they're putting out. I'm like, this is what you waited years and years and years to release.
That's not it, bro. That's not it.
I'm like,
that's crazy.
It's very lukewarm, or as the kids would say, it's mid.
Yeah, mid.
You know,
literally mid.
I'm
mid.
Like, really,
it's so mid.
I'm really
it's
not into
so
them.
mid, bro. Yeah, nah. Jerry Lorenzo is. You know what? I'd love to put this in the podcast. Well, this might be a Jerry Lorenzo is actually, Jerry Lorenzo has actually disappointed me on a number of occasions.
Yes.
I feel like Jerry Lorenzo's created the same shoe like 3 or 4 times.
Yes, 150%. Yes,
like he's created the same shoe, bro. The exact same shoe, like 3 or 4 times. Like, and when I saw the sample for what he was doing at Adidas, I was actually like almost pissed off. Like I was actually bro, how are you doing this again?
It took you 3 years to release something you've already done.
Like, I almost forgot he was at Adidas. I was like, bro, is it because of all this stuff with Kanye that you just slunk into the bank and just said, you know what, like, we're not going to come out. Let it sort of blow under the, I can't remember what the terminology is, but like, just like make sure that like nobody associates us with Kanye. But like ultimately,
I'll wait till it blows over. Yeah.
Blows over. That's what I was trying to say. It's late over here, so I'm losing my brain cells. But what they came up with, bro, I was like, this is a Yeezy 700.
It's so boring. It's so boring.
With two-tone. Like, come on, bro. Like, what we do. And now what they've actually done, the only part of the shoe that I actually vibe with is the fact that they've got the stripe pattern that they've used on the shoe reminds me of the Adidas Predator football boot, which is one of my favorite football boots when I was growing up, from like the World Cup, I think in 1998. Other than that, this is not a marquee kick, bro, and it's definitely not going to help Adidas basketball in any way, shape, or form. I think this is pointless.
Here's the thing, okay, behind the Jerry Lorenzo stuff, I've listened. I'm a designer. I'll listen to other designers and like learn about their process and things like this. And so I might be able to shed a little bit of light as to why it looks the way it does from Jerry.
Talk to me.
Jerry has spoken historically about his collaboration with Nike in that he has spent so much time and so much research and so much money in fear of God into coming up with the lasts for his shoe that give it that defined kind of like a pointy toe, sloped look. Okay. And he's like, I've worked so hard on perfecting that shape. And so he said, with Nike, I refused to do anything else other than my own sneaker that will utilize my lasts that I've made. And he said something about like he made them in Italy and something like this. And so really like top-notch quality stuff. And that's what he does for Fear of God. And he says, I'm not going to compromise. I want my stuff from Fear of God to look like it's from Fear of God. So contrary to like what Sean Wotherspoon does, which is like, I'm going to try and own a material like Corduroy. It's like, I'm sorry, you can't own a material. You can own a shape, a look. And that's where, you know, like the Yeezy 350, recognizable, that looks like a Yeezy 350, right? A blazer looks kind of like a Converse All-Star, but if you don't consider that, a blazer looks like a blazer, right? A dunk looks like a dunk. There's recognizable shapes. And with Jerry Lorenzo's shoes, a Fear of God shoe looks like a Fear of God shoe. If anything, he is consistent. And that is something you can own.
You can call it that, yeah.
Exactly. And that's something you can
I respect it. I understand.
So I understand why it looks the way it does. I'm just so disappointed how boring it is. I'm like, you didn't do it. Doesn't look like there's much done to the shoe to be of new in to spur any interest from people as they move towards runners and indoor soccer shoes like Sambas and stuff like this. You're giving us a basketball shoe that looks like it's designed for lifestyle, which is fine because it's made for Adidas basketball, but like it might just stay there. It's not going to transcend basketball to lifestyle if people are moving away from it.
And that's obviously what you want. This is it. It's because you took 3 years to come up with this shoe. The trend has changed.
That is exactly it.
I'm saying you took too long. If you were going to do... And the funny thing is, and this is so wild. if he'd have just stuck to what he normally does, and if he'd made something really, really smooth and calm and neutral, it'd probably sell out. Like, it probably would sell out. And it's absolutely fine. The truth is, yeah, you made this shoe 3 years ago, and for whatever reason, you kept it on ice for so long, and now you're bringing it out, right? And I still don't even think it's out. I don't even know if it's out yet. I don't believe it's out still up to now. And bro, the trend's done, bro. The trend's absolutely done.
I can, again, and I just like to play devil's advocate, okay?
Yeah,
I can also say, like, for the Pulse Runner that I've been designing at Volcoeur, that shoe process has taken me 2 years.
Nah.
And look, bro, I was making that 2 years ago. No one was really into New Balance fully 2 years ago. It started, like, it was at the beginning of the pandemic that I started this. I started this at the during lockdown, before everyone got into the runners.
Bro, your thing is understandable because, like, it's you doing it. It's you as an entity doing this, right? And pushing this forward. You're the driving force
what's
behind
Jerry's
your brand.
Excuse that took 3 years? Yeah, exactly.
Like,
they have the resources, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Adidas, fear of God, bro. You know what I'm saying? They have the infrastructure in place to be able to pump out a shoe if they needed to pump out a shoe.
True. That is
truthfully, right? It didn't need to take 3 years to get to this shoe. And this is the issue. People are going to say, okay, if it had come out after 6 months, it'd be like, that's a cool shoe. Come out after 3 years. No. I didn't wait 3 years for this. I didn't wait 3 years.
I feel you
for this. Like, bro, and this is it. And it's not even fair on the shoe, because in another circumstance, the shoe could have, like, been okay. It could have had a good fair whack, and people could have looked at it completely on its own merit.
Yeah.
But what they're looking at it now, and this is how I look at it, because number one, I'm a fan of Jerry Lorenzo. I like the whole minimalist, like, really, really calm style. I'm cool with that. I love all of that sort of stuff. And bro, and if you've got a gimmick that works for you, bro, do your thing, right? What I don't like is laziness, bro. I don't like laziness.
Yes.
Bro, I like Jown.
No.
Bro.
Don't get me started on Jown. Don't get me started on Jown. Jown put their logo on a white croc, and they said it's a collaboration. I said,
bro, I love it. But don't you think they do it ironically at this point?
No,
it's completely ironic at this point.
It has to be, because if not, they're treating us like idiots, okay? Here's the thing. They're either treating us like idiots or they're doing it ironically. Here's the thing with Jown, okay? There's a fine line between minimalism and laziness, okay? Fine line. If you can find it, like the details, then you can make the argument. I got to tell you, on my worst sneakers of the year, that Fear of God Jerry Lorenzo is on there. The AJ1 High Union with that big chukka style thing through the middle, that's on there. The Cactus Plant Flea Market, that's on there.
The Beffy's Beauty Supply. You don't like the Beffy's Beauty Supply?
Nope.
Oh, wow. I thought that was all right. I thought you were going to say the AJKO thing that they did.
Wait, hold on. Let me double check. AJKO Union.
No, but if you're talking about the one that's got the chukka style,
well, the AJKO is weave. Also, it's kind of boring, but yeah, I hate the chukka weave.
Boring. Yeah, no, I hear you. It's obviously gonna be Marmite to certain people. It's definitely gonna polarize some people. So I hear what you're saying, man.
Yeah.
Some people love that shoe though. I thought it was cool.
No, I know some people are into it, but some people are also into it after the fact for some reason. Everybody's gut reaction was, this sucks, and now they're all into it. And that's another thing I don't like with people. It's like, keep that same energy. Look, and then people are gonna say, I'm allowed to change my mind. I'm human. Listen, I totally get that, but sometimes your first instinct is the right instinct. If you pull back and you're like, oh, that's horrible, this is whack. Sometimes it just is, and you've convinced yourself to appreciate it later. But when other people are looking at it, they're like, okay, nice shoes. And then they move on. Like, a non-sneakerhead will have that gut reaction, and they don't think into it more than that. And you, to other people, are going to look totally whack, and it's probably because your first impression was right. That's probably what other people generally think about the sneaker, and it generally is whack, but you've convinced yourself for some reason that they are not as whack, because you stare at it 15 times a day, and everything looks better when you stare at it longer and longer. So,
yeah, you've been influenced.
That's it. So
the beast got you, man. The media machine got you. You've been influenced. Like, let's do some quick fires, man. Let's do some quick fires. You've been amazing, G. By the way, like, really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you, man.
So yeah, these quick fires, I appreciate. Like, I'm gonna give them to you quickly. Please, no dilly dallies with these. straight from the heart, straight from the chest, just
I think
as you've been doing.
you were giving Moses a lot of warnings. I don't think you have to give me many warnings. I was listening to that episode. You're like, Moses, you're on your third warning, man. It's like, no dilly-dallying. Give me the answers. So,
But people know that I let you off on that episode, by the way. I let you off with the dilly dallies, man. So yeah, we have to be strict now.
I
We
get
have
it.
to be
I
strict
get
now.
it.
Moses used up all the grace. Okay. Well, let me know when you're ready, bro.
I'm ready. Let's do this.
I'm locked and loaded. In 3, 2, 1. Big one. Nike or Adidas?
Nike,
New Balance or Adidas?
New Balance.
Can you wear Nike and Adidas together? Yes or no?
No, I have no.
What is your favorite non-Nike / Adidas brand?
Not Nike. I go with New Balance, but I think in a previous podcast you've also said, like, okay, let's say you also can't include New Balance because like the flavor of the month now. If I had to not take any one of those three and not take my own brand, obviously Volcoeur,
Yeah,
I would
shout out to Volcoeur.
I would be going for A6.
Okay, respect that. What was your last sneakers win? So your last Nike sneakers win on the app?
We in Canada we don't have the Nike sneakers app. We have I know. I know. Trust me, we're all the same. We all feel the exact same way. We have like Nike sneakers, like the web client app. So it's like a desktop app through the site. It's not like the actual mobile app. So I don't have any stories there. I think I can tell you the last retail purchase I've ever made because I don't ever make retail purchases. I only make resale purchases at this point. I forgot. I was like, screw release dates. Who needs those? I'll just buy them second. I can't be bothered to wake up at like 6 a.m. anymore and wait online for websites that get scooped up by bots and stuff. I'm done with that, man.
It's real talk right now, boy. It's real talk.
The New Balance Stone Island Fuel Cell C1. It was the new runner that they came out with. That's like this really mega crazy silhouette.
Yeah, chunky. Yeah.
This thing is amazing. I've been using these for actual fitness. I run every day. I work out every day. These sneakers have been really insane. They're like not like the Zoom. Was it the Zoom 1% from Nike or whatever that is? Zoom Fly 1%. They lean you forward. They actually tilt you forward so that when you're running, it's like it's built-in momentum into the sneaker, which is really cool.
Propulsion, yeah. Well, that's very cool.
So these were the last pair I bought retail.
Strong. Do you have a Jordan number? And if so, what is that number?
Jordan 6.
I like Jordan 6. Okay. YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok?
YouTube.
Sneakers, Kicks, or Creps?
Oh, sneakers.
Spotify or Apple Podcast?
Spotify.
Favorite collaboration?
Of all time or this year?
Of either.
Oof. I mean, like I collect all the Leica and Nike collaborations, and they're like kind of just sporadic whenever they release a movie, like every 4 years or so. So Leica, I guess, or if it's a more regular collaborator, it's just Off-White and Nike.
Strong on both accounts. Vans or Converse?
Vans, 100%. Vans, old school.
Laces or slip-ons?
Laces that you slip on, tied up with the finger, with the knuckle grind.
With the knuckle grind, with that knuckle grind, that's important. The knuckle grind. Do you use default laces, or do you pattern your laces? And when I say default, literally out the box, just as they come from the factory, are you leaving them as is, or do you create your own pattern?
You mean how they're laced up, or the color? Like I will always switch the laces. Like if there's alternate colors, I will almost always try and like throw the alternate color on because I have to be different. If not, I'll just stick with the way that they're laced up the box.
Cool. Custom designs or factory settings? So do you customize your shoes, or are you straight factory settings?
I like to keep things as factory as possible with a little bit of my own touch to it. So like I said, if I could swap out the laces, that's my little bit of custom
cool.
to it, and that's it. Yeah.
That's all good. Retro or innovation?
My God, you're really getting me with these.
It's a good one.
Retro. I like, I don't know, man. As a designer, there's a piece of me that says innovation, but as a collector, there's a piece of me that says when you buy retro, you're buying tried and true. You're buying what has stood the test of time. When you're buying innovation, everything you're buying is a risk. And it could, so I don't, as a collector, retro, as a designer, innovation. Taking a side on I'm sitting on the fence.
Wow. Is that a dilly-dally? Let me know in the comments below.
You can give me a slap on the wrist, but that's the only one. I'll take it for that.
You take that one, yeah. Right. Flip-flops or slides?
Flip-flops.
Socks or barefoot?
Socks.
Comfort or style?
Comfort.
Fresh and clean or beaten and battered?
Clean.
This is to wash your shoes. Are you using the washing machine or are you hand washing your shoes?
Oh my God. Hand washing. If you wash your shoes in a machine, you're a barbarian.
Absolute murderer. Lows, mids or highs?
Lows.
And the last one in this section is triple blacks or white and whites.
Triple blacks. I don't know. Tough. Triple blacks. I think about cleanliness, dirt, all that stuff. I just, I going out, I spill some sriracha sauce on my shoe. I'm not going to crap myself if it's a white pair. If it's a black pair, I'm going to go crazy if it's a white pair. So
it's true. Also, if you needed to commit some crime, you're already wearing the shoe of the criminals. The chosen shoe of most criminals. So it's easy if you just needed to quickly just assault somebody. Anyway,
I'm not gonna comment, but sure. You know what you need to do? You need to start taking statistics on these. If you can go back to the episodes and you have you are taking statistics?
No, I need to, but you're absolutely right. I need to go back from the beginning.
How many people are picking which option, and then you can figure out if your guest is truly unique or not.
No, absolutely right. Yeah, man. First of all, I need to know who's picking black on black, because I need to know who the murderers. For real. Who are the murderers among us? Who are the people I need to watch my back because of? Right. So, but yeah, I have to applaud you, man, because you got through that fairly unscathed. Couple of hairy moments. There's a little bit of dilly and dallying at certain points, but we did okay. You get me? We did okay. But the next question I'm going to ask you is the penultimate question. It is the term sneakerhead, and we've mentioned it during the course of the interview, and it's a term that some people sort of hold dear, and it feels to a lot of people like it's something that sort of enables them to feel part of a group, part of a community, a family. For others, it's like, no, I don't want to be associated with that terminology for whatever reason. Where do you sort of fall on that? And what does the term actually mean to you?
You know, the funny thing is, I think the older the person you tell you're a sneakerhead, the more they kind of like write you off like, oh, so you're like, you have a lot of shoes, or like you spend a lot of money on shoes. That becomes the connotation that they have. Like if you tell your parents or someone else's parents, like, oh, are you a sneakerhead? Like you have a lot of shoes, right? It's like it depends who you're talking to about it, I think, because when you tell them, it just kind of seems like you're someone who squanders money on footwear, and it sounds stupid to them. So you're like, oh no, I'm just like a shoe collector, like I collect shoes. You don't use that terminology, but with younger people or people who get you can totally say like, yeah, I'm a sneakerhead, like I'm big into this, because they get it. They understand the nuances behind being a part of that community. So I'm totally cool with it. Also on the gatekeeping front, I find that some people, when it comes to drawing the line of like who's a sneakerhead and who's like a sneaker enthusiast or whatever, and I'm just like, look, kids, not all kids can afford to stack collections like a lot of us have, and if we've built it up over time. Don't ever forget the day that you started becoming a sneakerhead. You did not have 50 whatever plus pairs behind you. you had one or two. You probably started with some Vans or some Converse. You leveled up to, like, you found out what a Jordan 1 was, and then you expanded your horizons. It all and these kids, a lot of kids are going to start with hype stuff, right? That's fine. It's their entryway. It's their gateway to the genre, right? If you're thinking about music, they're going to start with Lil Uzi, and they're going to branch off and find other kinds of people who do what he does, but in a different way, have a different flow, and they like it better and this and that. But they have to start with something. So, I know one person who is a sneakerhead, has 3 pairs of sneakers, spent all of his money on those sneakers, a pair of Cause 4s, the gray pair, a pair of Yeezy Blinks, and one other pair of something like just a casual, like a UNC 1 high or something. And I was like, the guy's a sneakerhead. He organizes
100%.
He organizes sneaker events in the community. He organizes get-togethers, like evenings for drinks, right? Like with sneakerheads and stuff. He does all these things, and the guy has like 3 pairs of shoes, but like it doesn't make him any less of a sneakerhead.
Bro, I love it, man.
And you can have some people that are like DJ Khaled style closets behind them, and they're like, yeah, I get what's new. Like, my son tells me it's this, and so I buy it. Like, there's some of these guys on YouTube channels that sell watches and things like this, and he's like, they sell watches, they have a lot of money, they do things like this, and he's always wearing like the freshest pair of Dunks. And I'm like, but that guy's not a sneakerhead. His kid has a resale shop. He tells him what the hottest shoes are, and he buys them from his kid, and he has like all the freshest whatever Dunks, but he's not a sneakerhead. Like, the guy's not dedicated to that. There's no investment in learning more and wanting to learn more, or to appreciate the sneaker, or to whatever. At least none that he's expressing outwardly.
Consciously, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think to be you have to interact with the community in any way. That can be just taking a picture and posting it on Instagram. It could be taking a picture of the same pair of shoes that you have 15 different ways, because you don't have 15 other pairs of shoes. You just have taken that shoe to the park. You take it to a garage. You try doing some photo shoots, and you're trying to put it up. That's you trying to interact with the community with the little bit of pairs that you have. And that's you trying to show some effort to be part of the community. Like, I am a sneakerhead. I'm interested in sneakers. This is the shoe that I have to show off. Like, that kid could have one sneaker, and I'd be like, you're a sneakerhead, 100%.
You're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. So, I mean, with all of that being said, Matt, are you a sneakerhead?
I'm a sneakerhead. I hesitated because 100%. On my profile I wrote sneaker enthusiast. And I've put that there because I'm interested in more than just being a sneakerhead. I am interested in the levels that go beyond that, of design, of business, of the marketing of sneakers, of the rollouts. Like, take Brendan Dunn, right? Or anybody over at Complex, they're reporting on sneakers, the news cycle around it, the marketing strategies that go behind the sneakers. Like, I'm very into the business end of it and the finances behind producing them. So I'm more than just really into sneakers, and I don't, like a fetishist of sneakers. I'm more into I'm not just into like the eye candy of it. I'm into like the strategy, the launch schedules, the promo, everything that goes into it. So I'm kind of enthusiastic about that, and I like to call myself like a sneaker enthusiast, but I'm a sneakerhead as well. I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I don't think they're mutually exclusive either, man. And I completely agree. 100% Kicks Chronicles certified enthusiast, sneakerhead, all of the above. Matt, you're that guy.
I get the stamp.
You get me? 100% stamp of approval. I mean, maybe not approval, maybe just appreciation. You get me? Stamp of appreciation. You get me? Like, them ones there. So, Matt, this has been your Kicks Chronicles. Absolutely fantastic. You've spoken about everything. And now what I need you to do is tell the millions and millions of people that are going to watch/listen to this podcast what you've got going on, how they can support, how they can get involved.
Yep. They can follow Volcoeur on Instagram at VOLCOEUR_. That's on Instagram. And you can find us everywhere there. The website is www.volcoeur.com. And I'm going to be looking to launch the Pulse Runner, our first signature runner, in early 2024. So keep an eye peeled for that, for those pre-orders. And that's it. Check us out on Instagram. And I look forward to, connecting with more people.
Amazing. People, make sure to go like Matt as well. Go like his.
Yeah, you can
know what I'm
find
saying,
me.
Matt.
Yeah, on
Go
Instagram.
like him up. But Volcoeur as well. Make sure to go like him up. Make sure to go show massive amounts of support. I'm gonna throw up your details. It's gonna be in the description as well. I'm gonna make sure that people know where they can get in contact with you, man, because I'd imagine there's going to be a few people that are going to want to see those new runners when they drop in 2024.
Awesome.
You get me? And once again, I have seen them they're pretty hard still. So
appreciate you, man.
So nah, bro, it's absolutely fine, man. Because I have to appreciate when I see good stuff and get me and hearing the story behind it, seeing the amount of energy and effort, man. I applaud you, my G. So thank you so much for being on the program, man. This podcast was made for people like you, if I'm being honest, with an amazing story to tell, such a love and a passion for Kicks, man. And man, I'm buzzing for this episode to go out. So people, we've got one of them ones right here, man. People, make sure to go and support Volcoeur and Matt, man. He's doing his thing. You get me, man. And thank you, people, for joining us once again. Thank you all for joining us, whatever time of the day it is, for sharing some time with us and hearing the amazing stories. Make sure to stay connected, like, comment, subscribe, rate, review, do all of those great things. We always appreciate it. You know the things to do those things, and we love it, right? And with all of that being said, I've been your boy PROZECH. This has been Matt O. This is Kicks Chronicles. You get me? Your sneaker and lifestyle podcast, where it's about connections, not collections. You get me? People, look after yourself and stay blessed.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Kicks Chronicles. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, rate, review, and all that good stuff. And remember, full video version is available on YouTube, audio versions available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.